The toughest thing about being a caregiver, particularly when you've had a relationship that borders on perfect, where two as one could look across the room and talk to each other without verbally communicating, and suddenly having that communication break down, and you look into that person's eyes and you don't see the same thing and you don't get the same reactions, or you're not there for the person because they're not there for you. It's sort of like one hand trying to clap. It's a very frustrating experience. And as that evolves and you don't know what's going on, you think that person's not there for you. And there's an old saying, you could do bad by yourself. And so many people, particularly women, men, women, significant others, go through that. As a caregiver, you suddenly realize that you're in a 24/7, 365, non-stop war. War on your sanity, and then once you realize what the person is dealing with, on trying to protect their dignity. Because you see a person that, in my case, an Uber woman, long before there was a car company, who could literally do anything, who could speak fluent German, who could look at food and cook it, who could look at a page of copy and go to a camera and deal with 2 or 3 people and know where she was, sort of like playing a sport and knowing every position and who was there, and also being able to look at the clock and know when to score or not. And to see that slowly just fritter away, and you keep asking yourself, why? What's going on? Why is this person not the way? And wanting that person to be what they were, and realizing that they will not be that, and may never, and ultimately realize not. It's the most frustrating thing. So the caregiver goes through all of those range of emotions, and personally they go, after they start to see it, they see the destructiveness, because that brain is trying to right itself, but it can't. It's trying to do all of the things that people here are talking about, and it can't. And you're trying to get back to where you were, and it won't happen. It puts a tremendous accordion pressure on yourself. And for me, it took me to places that I never thought I would go. It took me to not wanting to be with her, to not understanding. Anyone who's been involved with Alzheimer's, be it a spouse or a parent or a grandparent, and you have to spend 15 or 20 minutes, and then it turns, why me? Why am I here? What can I can't take this. You can't wait to get away, and you hate leaving. You can't stand coming back, and you can't wait to be there. So you go through this emotional pressure cooker. And I can tell you, to tie it in with Move for Minds, I got to that place, and I went to 250 pounds. Today I'm 220 pounds. I was drinking too much. I was not eating the right foods. I was comforting myself through a whole host of things. I wasn't meditating, and I started to meditate. I exercise, and right now I'm at 60, almost 64 years old. I'm down to 220 pounds, and I'm feeling better than ever. I've also included, because I want to be candid, I've included someone else in my life. I had to. When you sit in a room with someone and there's nothing there, when you can't talk to that person, when the person doesn't know what day, what month, what year, doesn't know what a chair is, when you ask the person where they're from, they don't know it, they don't know their mother's name, and you sit in that room and that person is slowly turning the lights off, it takes you there. And I realized, I think you mentioned earlier, it's sort of like riding in a plane, and the plane drops from 35,000 feet to 15, and the oxygen mask comes on. Before you can worry about the next person, you gotta put the mask on yourself. Because you're no good if you can't manage yourself, and you can never, whatever relationship it is, you can never emote happiness and be happy and feel good and not feel stressed and have that cortisol all coming through, which is all basis of inflammation, which takes you on a spiral down like a drain. If you don't have a sense of purpose, have a sense of knowing what happiness is, having a sense of that you can be happy again, all of that is part of being a caregiver. And what this whole move of minds is that activity that you have to stay in motion, to stay in game, to look out and say, I can make it better for myself, and then I can help others. That's why I'm here today, Maria. That's why I'm here, and I will always be here for you, because what everyone up here said, you know, I liken it to, you know, meditation. That's that hippie stuff. But it's not. You know, eating right and putting organics in your body, that's important because of the processed foods and what it does. I've seen it all, I've lived it all. As a caregiver, 24/7, can't get, I've watched my wife destroy stuff. I've watched her pull things apart, trying to figure out, and you can't change them. It's a form of domestic terrorism. There's no negotiating. There's no making them right. I have people calling me up and saying, my auntie, I'm trying to get her to do this the other way. She don't understand. And then to take that to a whole nother level within my own particular ethnicity, within the African American community, we are so traumatized by race and racism and wanting to prove that we are just as good as everyone else, and that we can't talk to someone, or that we have to pray for it. And I say to my folks, I say pray for the scientists to come up with the cure, because you can't just pray and not have a sense of making something change that's going to affect you on a day-to-day basis. And it's dramatic. I mean, the research is not there in the African American and Hispanic community. There's so much distrust. And what I'm trying to do is break that down and say, you've got to believe, you got to get over Tuskegee, you've got to get over the feeling that if you're black and you're white, and if one person needs a transfusion or whatever, one person is going to go out with a toe tag and the other person is going home. And there's all of that. So we have to build bridges. It really starts socially. We have to build bridges, and that's why I'm here, Maria. So.
Wow. Wow.